welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different from the cars, televisions and video recorders that I normally feature on this channel. And we're going to be taking a look at this monster. Now this, if you know your vacuums, is a Kirby G5. Now the Kirby G5 dates from around 1997 to 2000, if I remember rightly, and the vacuum itself was never sold through shops. It was actually sold through door-to-door sales via the Kirby company. So Kirby, as I understand it, are an American company, part of the, I want to say, Scott Folzer group. I'm not sure, I'd need to look up on that. But their vacuums are sold by Kirby representatives, and back in around 1997-98, actually would have been, no sorry, 1999 this would have been, a friend of mine from school was actually a Kirby sales representative, so I got to see firsthand some of the features of the Kirby G5, because I agreed to be one of his sales dummies, so to speak, so he could perfect his sales patter. So when you actually come to sell one of these things as a Kirby representative, you do, or they certainly do, seem to go in for quite a lot of the hard sell. And my friend at the time wasn't really into all of that sort of hard sell stuff, so he lasted for a few months in the company and then went on to get something different. But I always remember being sort of fairly impressed with the build quality of this machine, not so impressed with the price. So when I received the opportunity recently to pick up this unit for £20 in as seen condition, I decided to jump at the chance. So what I'm going to be doing today is seeing how far I can clean it up, and if needs be, take it apart and take a look and see what's going on. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to take this bag off. Now I've actually got a number of accessories in one of the sheds which I'll be bringing out later, and I can tell immediately that that bag is pretty full. So if I remember rightly, to get the whole bag assembly off, you have to twist this assembly here like so and release the bag chamber from this housing here, and this actually gives me quite a good bit of entry into there to actually clean all of that up. This front piece, so the belt is currently in the on position, so if I am to turn this way like so, there's a little red arrow that meets up with the red arrow belt off, and this whole front assembly comes away from the machine like so. And you can see inside here just how the belt assembly actually works. I mean, this is full of crud at the moment, so you can see in there how the belt is hooked around this, and when the belt is released it goes down like so, and then at that point it would actually be on this spindle here. So at the moment we're going to keep this in the off position. So we've got the beta bar here, and we've actually got a lot of residue here which we need to clean out. So we're going to remove the beta bar and clean out this entire assembly. So funny enough, I actually did this the other day, so I'm going to release the belt and release the belt completely like so. You've got two locks here which unlock. This bottom plate pulls off like so, and unlatches, and then we've got access to the beta bar, which isn't in too bad a shape, but it may be something that I will consider replacing at some point. Certainly the bag is very full, and that's one thing that I will need to remove. So let's have a look at how this comes out. God, there's loads of stuff in here. That is, what is that? Ugh, that smells like shake and vac. So this has been used obviously for doing a bit of the old shake and vac to put the freshness back. A random fact about the shake and vac advert: my father actually did the lighting for that particular advert. So all of the lighting you see was actually done by my dad, which is, I suppose you'd call that a lame to fame. It's not really a claim to fame, it's more of a very lame claim to fame. Now, I noticed that the front of this unit is held in with Torx screws, and ideally I want to get access to this motor impeller so I can give it a good old clean up. So let's see what we have in the way of suitable bits. Needs to be, I can break out my much larger collection of bits, but let's see what we have in the screwdriver sets that we have available to us immediately. So, never taken apart one of these before. This is very much a voyage of discovery. So we've got these two screws down here, which are quite long, so we'll put those there. Let's move that out of the way. Got some more, one here. I'm guessing this one actually holds this switch in place here. Same length but flat. And got these two top ones, which I would guess hold on this top bezel, this top trim piece. So let's move those. So they're a lot shorter. And then marvel at how either the whole machine falls apart or everything becomes wonderfully available for me to continue working on. Or in the case of now, stays rigidly in place. So if I carefully rest this down, we can have a look to see if there's anything else. So notice there's actually one screw missing from underneath here. That's on the plastic part. So let's see if removing this screw does anything. So that's a different size again. So you've got the motor module back here, which is the actual drive module. So one thing these had, which I think the G4s had as well, was a sort of almost like a clutch mechanism which allowed the entire machine to sort of drive itself. So at a push of a handle at the top. So the machine would actually drive itself forwards and drive itself back. So it's quite good in that respect. So I'm actually wondering if this will remove this whole module. So that's actually released something. Not sure if it's released everything that we want, or if it's released too much or too little. But let's see. We'll tease it away. See if we have released a bit more than we anticipated. No, I'll be honest, I don't know if I've actually got to get into there. There's a screw there, but I don't know if that's part of the actual assembly or if there is piece of trim on the back here that needs to be removed. We do have this piece of trim here, so screw at the top. Phillips or crosshead screw down. Let's move all of these out of the way. Need to remember where they go, if not I'll just watch the video back so I can refresh my memory. Now this one is attached in here somewhere, so there is a push. Aha! That's what I remember these doing. This comes off by simply pushing and what that allows us to do, I hope, is to prise off this piece of trim. So we can actually give that a clean in a moment. Now we've got these two at the back. Another pair of Torx. That should allow us access. Yeah, there you go, inside the machine. So, these are quite interesting. So you've got here, there's this belt assembly here, which I could actually do with replacing, because if you look, the belt is very slack, so that will be on the list for replacement. So if I put that into the neutral position for now, it might also be what's holding this assembly from coming out. Yes, it is. So what I can do is very gently remove this belt, and actually the motor itself seems to provide the drive for this this whole assembly. So hopefully I should be able to. Or do I need to remove it? Let's be perfectly honest about this. I don't need to remove this motor module. The only thing I want to gain access to is the impeller at the front. All of this here I could do with just giving a clean out. So I'll get the this will be a bit of a combination of worlds here, or opposite worlds. I will get the Dyson and vacuum this whole area out and put onto my list of things I need to get one of these drive belts that will actually improve the motor mechanism on the drive here. So we've got drive and neutral. So we'll leave that on neutral for the moment. Okay, let's spin around underneath the machine again. And let's refit those screws that we removed earlier. So we don't need them out of the way. Let's just put them all back in. So we're going to need these. We've got a larger one. That's front. So we need these two. So one thing I'm noticing whilst taking this apart is it is designed with servicing in mind. In fact, they have allegedly, I'm not sure how true this is, although it was part of the sales blurb, so there must be some truth to it. They have a lifetime warranty. However, that lifetime warranty can only be upheld if you get the unit serviced at a Kirby centre annually. So once every 12 months you take the unit into your local Kirby centre, wherever that may be, and you get the whole thing serviced. So if I actually put drive mode on, you can hear the change in tone. If you put it in neutral, it's a lot quieter. So now I've got this out of the way, I can actually see that we've got these two Torx bolts here. And I'm hoping that that will release this whole front plate, giving me access to that impeller. So it just allows me to inspect. Oh, they're long. I'll put those to one side. They're extra long. It just allows me to inspect the condition of the impeller and see if it's something else I need to add to the shopping list of parts that I need to repair the Kirby. So, does that come off? The immediate answer is no, it does not. However, it has released this whole back assembly. So this whole top assembly contains the little hood with the light. Also contains the assembly for the upright. And what else is it doing? Oh, I noticed something else a little bit untoward. It looks like when somebody has taken this apart before, at the back here, I can immediately tell that this here should be over that. So let's correct that. So we need to investigate how this is held in. So there's two Phillips, very large Phillips screws. I'm hoping that if I undo both of these, I'll just angle that to the side so you can see the camera. The camera can see it rather. Oh, yeah. There we go. That's releasing that. So I'm hoping that by doing that, so that's actually the little arm that actuates the motor assembly. Also, this gives you good opportunity to investigate the motor itself and investigate the brushes. So that doesn't feel horrific. Still seems to be plenty of meat on those brushes. However, a replacement set of brushes could be something that I could consider. And you can see where the motor itself drives this whole assembly. This is the little switch that actually latches this motor mechanism here into life. And it seems that this should be sat like that rather than like that. So the very fact that this was working is a miracle in its own right. Anyway, let's put that down for a second and let's get some cleaning products to start cleaning this up. Right, so let's get started with a bit of a wipe down of this entire area. Don't really want to do anything too arduous to this motor, so I'm just going to give the contact plates on the motor, is it a stator? I can't remember off the top of my head. Just gentle wipe over, like so. Now if these were pitted or horrifically scored, I would have to look at investing in a replacement motor. However, for the minute they look okay. I'm going to leave this assembly here off for the moment because I'm going to wait for it to charge. Get the Dyson with the furry brush attachment and just vacuum over this whole area, getting rid of all of this sort of dust. Now, back to the initial challenge, which is removing this front plate. So underneath, these wheels are held in to the actual front plate itself. They don't seem to make up any part of the actual overall assembly. Now let's see, is there anything else that would potentially hold us back from prising off this entire front plate? And the answer is no. No, there isn't. The impeller itself, it looks mostly okay. It's a bit sort of battle worn, but there's no... Can't really see it from this angle, but there's no sort of big chunks missing from the blades or anything like that. I always think it's quite an unusual design that the whole... I wonder if that has holes and everything in it. The whole motor, the suction is right at the front, and then the whole motor literally, the whole impeller literally sucks dirt and throws it up this pipe into the bag. So it's inflating the bag almost from the front back, whereas more conventional vacuums, you've got the bag, a filter, and then the fan for the motor right at the back, away from the actual dirt. So one thing it does mean is that you can switch this to a blow mode quite easily. God, that's very, very well screwed in. Let's see if it undoes. It is undoing. Whether you're supposed to undo it or not is another thing altogether. It may actually be held in by a bolt on the rear. So, and the other question is, are you actually supposed to separate this? It would be unusual if you weren't, because that would be a bit against being able to service it and indeed renew that impeller. So this whole assembly here is pretty much free to move. Actually, removing that would probably give you access to the motor, so you go up like that. So I don't really want to do that if I can avoid it, but let's see. Or do I really want to? No, because you've got these in the way as well. So you've got this whole unit here, which is gas combined suppressor and voltage regulator. Motor itself is held in by two Phillips screws down there. There's probably more around the other side. Those bolts I removed from the underside may have actually had something to do with the motor as well. You've got the arrangement there, which lowers the whole unit down or raises it up depending on what you need. So, is there a way I can get this off? The immediate thought is, no, not really. So, why it would give you the option to be able to remove that, I don't know. Unless those all hold in the front of the motor itself. So the actual motor assembly would come out if I remove this top piece. So if we remove that one, remove this one. this to one side, and then you've got motor held in by a couple of bolts, so there must be something on the other side of that which would release said bolt. This is an intake, or no, sorry, this is an exhaust cover here, and that holds that. That holds that in. That is a very unusual mystery as to how that's held all together. So, oh, need to release that. Okay, that releases this out of the equation completely. So these two cables are, funny enough, for the light on the front. So you've got these two cables and they plug into this extension cable which goes into this module here, and then there's another smaller one which also goes into the top of this module. So that can move out of the way for the moment. Now, the unusual thing is how we can get to this impeller. So really I just want to give it a good clean. I don't really want to do anything else to it. So we may have to settle for giving it a clean by just poking something in there and cleaning it. So, there you go. It just needed a really tough pull. And off it comes, and here's your impeller. So I can now give this a thoroughly good clean all of this out in here. See, it looks like a turbocharger, so it looks like a turbocharger casing anyway. So I can give all of that a really good going over, really good clean. Now, it's not in perfect condition, this impeller, but it's serviceable. However, I don't know if the impeller itself is removable from the motor or if the whole assembly actually comes with the motor as well. What seems to happen is as objects have hit it, it's roughed away these little bits at the end, and it's causing it to trap hairs effectively. So let's get something onto that to clean it up. And what I'm going to use may be a little bit surprising, but I'm actually going to use some waterless car wash and wax. I'm going to use that on the metal coverings as well. The reason I'm using this is it's a particularly good detergent, and because it has the wax in it, it actually leaves quite a nice shiny finish as well. So we're going to clean up this entire housing like so. Give each of these blades a bit of a wipe over. And we'll do the same with the actual housing itself. actually got some sealant on here, so ideally I should be replacing this with some sealant. Not sure what I should be using. I'm hoping there's enough left on there to get by for the moment, but we shall see. Seems to be that is an important consideration with one of these, that if you don't have enough sealant, you're going to get air being sucked in outside of the machine rather than from the front of the machine, which is, well, really where you want the air to be sucked in. So we'll see how it goes. We'll actually test. You can actually just sort of feel around it when it's in operation to see if it is sucking air in from places it shouldn't. I'm thinking for now, if I've got some silicone grease, I could probably put a smear of silicone grease around there, which should provide enough of a seal to get us by. However, it might be worth investigating through various Kirby forums what I should be using to seal the front housing from the impeller itself. So just giving this another wipe down. The main thing I want to do is to get rid of any sort of hairs or anything that I've got trapped on the plastic impellers, because they can impede airflow through the machine and it can stop things working quite as well as they should. Now, what I'm going to do is just pause this video and try and find my beta bar, if you pardon the expression, and I'm going to give this a soak. But first off, if I just train the camera on the beta bar, which is resting in my lap, I need to see if there's a way I can get the bar out. And looking at it, we have possibly a way to do that by just yanking it like that. That seemed to work wonders. That worked well, actually. Now let's go and get that soaking. So let's give it a bit of a vacuum in with the old Dyson. There we go. Right, let's go and put this back on charge. That should have hopefully shifted some of the grime that we had inside of the unit, and yeah, on the whole, that's looking a lot cleaner. What we can actually do now is start to reassemble things. So we're going to start with this top cover, and there is a tiny little connector that I need to plug this little one back into. So there she is, right at the top there. So this one goes in here, like so. Set the bracket down on there. And we've got this one, which connects with this one. That's your front illumination panel. And we've got these two Torx bolts at the back, which, if I remember, were these little black ones. Now, they can move, so we'll do this up loosely. Let's see, how's that one going? Yep, goes in. And yeah, it wasn't the black ones, it was actually these two silver ones. So let's do those up, only not fully tight, but enough so that the top assembly can move. Now the next thing I want to do is to put my front panel back on. So I've got the front panel here. And we'll just give it a final wipe over. Now, one would guess that theoretically what you should be doing is removing all of the old seal and then reassembling with new seal. I don't have any of the correct seal, so as a temporary get me out of jail fix, I'm going to use a smear of silicone grease around the assembly itself, like so. And I'm hoping what that should do is provide us with enough of a seal so that we are airtight. Now, I'm guessing it's going to be something very similar to car gasket seal. So, if I can't get any Kirby specific seal, probably something like Hermitate or Blue Hylamart would do just as good a job at providing us with a masticky sealant, which it seems this sort of stuff is quite masticky in its general finish. However, for now, I'm hoping that the silicone grease, which is non-conductive, will do the job. This machine is not a daily driver, so to speak. It's more just an interesting oddity. So it's not going to be used in any sort of particular anger, but doing it properly is something that I like to do, and leaving it like this is something I don't like to do, so I will be coming round at some point and removing all of the seal on both surfaces and replacing with the correct seal. However, for now, we're going to see how we get on. So, I'm going to mount this front panel back onto the machine. You can see it's splodging out some of the silicone grease, which is always good. And you see that, it means that you've sort of made a seal in some ways. And we're going to start by these really long ones, if I remember rightly. That went into, they go through into this top bracket. So, what we'll do is we won't fully tighten these, we will tighten these in a similar fashion to how one would tighten a cylinder head on a car. And now we've got this bottom one, so it was this one was the flat one. Should bring us together. Like so, so we'll start with that one, this one, this one, and then we'll jump down to the bottom on this side. Like so. And here. There we go. So let's tighten 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. There we go. Now we can now tighten up this rear one, or these rear two, whatever. 1 and 2. That locks this into place. Now the next one is this. So I'll give this a wipe down. Get some waterless spray in there just to clean it all up. By waterless, it means you don't need to use water. I think it does have some kind of water content in there. It just means you don't have to use a hose. However, going on to my own personal theories about car washing, this stuff is really good for the summer months, or if you've got the car in storage and you don't take it out ever onto wet or salty roads. However, if you do take it out in the wet, you can't beat a good hose wash. Mainly because you can get the hose onto the underside, you can sort of wash out everything from the underside, from inside the arches, you know, sort of things like that, all the things that you would normally do in a proper hose wash. This stuff is just particularly good for sort of really sort of show cars, and also I used it on a recent trip around Europe. Thankfully it didn't rain at all, but it was particularly good at cleaning the windscreen and the windows, but also removing brake dust from the alloy wheels, and also just keeping the car bodywork generally clean and presentable during the car's trip around Europe. It also means that when I get back, well, obviously I've now returned as I'm filming this video, when I get back from the trip, the car is a lot easier to clean off. So it just makes sense really, from sort of my perspective, because I'm quite finicky about cleaning cars. So being able to clean the car whilst I'm mid-journey is good for sort of my, well, just sort of just good for me really. A bit odd like that. Right, so that is that one back in. That's also in properly now as well. So hopefully, when the rod is back in there, that will press down correctly onto this. That seems to be locked in position at the moment, so clean up. Perfect. So, next thing I'm going to do is to get this top cover back onto the unit. And if I remember rightly, we have... Actually, I might give the cursory clean first. Oh, crikey, that actually comes off. I had a feeling it would, but that does give me ample access to clean all of this up. There's a bit of corrosion on there as well, which isn't too pretty. So what I'm going to try to do for this, move this to one side, is get this clay bar that I had hanging around. Oh, pull off a big chunk. Use the wash and wax as a kind of detailing spray, so that just provides a bit of lubrication. And let's see what that does for us. Not a huge amount on the heavily corroded bits, unfortunately, because I think they may need a little bit more of a machine polish. And it is really quite tarnished, bless it. I may need to get a machine mop on this and give it a proper polish, but just trying to see what we can do for now, the materials that we've got available. That really is quite pitted, bless it. It's seen quite a bit of action. Now, I actually have some paint renovator. I'm just going to go and grab some of that and see if that makes a difference. Right, so I've got some paint restorer. I'm really not sure if this will do anything, because it is quite badly tarnished. However, it's worth a go. So, slap it all on. There you go. Those bits down the bottom I don't think I'll be able to do anything with, because they are quite into the I think this is aluminium, quite eating into the aluminium itself, so I might need to use something a bit more forceful on those, like some wet and dry paper. Also got quite a bit of tarnishing on there as well, which does suggest to me that this poor thing hasn't really been looked after over the years. However, it seems to be getting quite a lot of dirt. However, the fact that it's still here and pretty much still works is a testament to just sort of how these machines were built. However, as a friend tells me, although they are very expensive, there are better options out there. However, I rather like them for the fact that they are slightly idiosyncratic, and well, as I've seen here, everything is sort of, all the plastics are of high quality, the metalwork is of high quality. They are a high quality machine, I mean, don't get me wrong, but there are probably better options if you're that way inclined. So let's just refit this and we'll clean the rest of it in situ. I don't want to remove that aside. It should slip on like so. And just slip into place like so. And just prise on. Hopefully in there as well. There we go. That means now I should be able to, other way round, get this into here. And where is it? There it is. I need to give myself a bit of slack on this belt, not belt, this flex, which I'll do by popping that out there. And that should allow me to do that. And I see. So that goes somewhere. So that goes on like that. This I'm now lost as to where that goes actually. That's, oh no, that doesn't go anywhere near there. That I think goes here at the back. I need to investigate that a little bit more. So that should sit on there. We should have a couple of screws, which I think will be these ones. So there's one and two. Okay. Now we want to clean this panel up. So bit of around there. Oh, I didn't even have this. Sorry about that. I've just put the two screws in up here. I didn't even have the camera focused on that then. Sorry about that, viewers. You didn't miss much, but I do know some people would have liked to have seen that. I know I would have, so I do apologise for that. But I'll clean this up here. Give that a good wipe over. A little bit broken, this piece, so I'd be interested to see if I can actually get a replacement. It's only broken there, but it's one of those sort of nice to have things. If it's available, then it's probably worth getting. That there is where the flex goes. That's good. That's answered that mystery question. So let's focus the camera up onto the main drive unit. We go in at the top here, down. Oh, no we don't, we've got these two at the back that we've got to put in first, so we need a couple of these. We've got 1, 2. Place. It's a bit long, that one, I think. That one goes into the bottom. I think we have this one I need to put in. That seems a bit loose. guess, like a lot of this machine, we didn't have one there in the first place. I'll put that out the way for the moment. Okay, let's get some of that metal renew on here. This will be soon covered up. Okay. It's removing quite a bit of grime actually, which is good. So nothing else, it's just giving it a bit of a clean. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with that. I'm going to try something in a minute. And I'm just going to see how it goes. If it ends up making it worse, it ends up making it worse. If it makes it better, brilliant, it makes it better. Right, so that clips into place. Then we've got that screw that goes in at the bottom, which I think is this one. It just slips into place there. Yeah, stubby out and do this. Okay, that's in. Flex. That's odd. How's that actually? Oh, hang on, I know what I've done. That comes out again. This comes up. Flex into there, like so. Top there. Clip there. Flex. Safely ensconced underneath that. Screw into back. Like so. Then this little black weird Torx thing into there. And that's back into place. There we go, that's that back on. And then we've got that one that goes underneath. There should be two, but for whatever reason, there's only one. So it'd be worth actually getting one this size to put back in. Let's angle that, can you see? Yeah, you can see that. So there's two to go into there. So there should be one there and one there, but for whatever reason we've only got one. And I think I put in the wrong one. Or was that actually working? No, that's the wrong one. Let's have a look and see what I should substitute. So it probably needs a longer one. This one does look a different size. I think it was it this one that went in there instead? No, definitely not. So we had two holding that in there, unless it's a different size on the other side. So let's try it. No, they do look quite fat, to be honest with you. Oh, okay. Let's seems that there are two different size screws for each side. And that one is in. That one must be a different size to that one, which is unusual. Right. Now we need to do something about this because this is quite badly tarnished. And there is something that I want to try, and I don't guarantee if it will work, but I'll try it on a small area and see what happens. I'm going to try a few things. 1500 grade wet and dry, G3, and I've actually got some proper clay bar lube here, which I'm going to use for the 1500 grade wet and dry. So let's move that to one side there. Let's plonk this, whoa, round you go to there, to the worst bit. And let's spray up the area. Here goes nothing. If it ruins it, it ruins it. If it makes it better, yay. So, and immediately that's doing something interesting. Let's just wipe that off and see what it's done. Okay, that's quite impressive. That's actually, so here there was a lot of tarnishing. Seems to have removed that. It seems to be doing something. So let's try a bit more of that. Ah. Bottles going everywhere. Right, how do you look? Better, actually. That is a lot better. So, it's still a bit grubby. That's come up rather well, so let's do a little bit more of that. So, this stuff also acts as sort of like a lubricant, which is quite good if I'm using an abrasive 1500 grade bit of paper like this. It does actually provide a bit of lubricant as well, so it isn't quite as abrasive. Okay, bit of the waterless wash and wax. And that is actually a marked difference. Still a little bit up there. What I'm going to try to do is use some of this G3 stuff. Yeah, I know, way too much. It's sort of like having, it's like grinding paste. I sort of always think grinding paste is basically wet and dry in a can or a pot, and you have different grades of grinding paste depending on whether you need to do a smooth finishing grind or an initial lap-in grind. So you usually use coarser grinding paste for your initial lap-in, and then you use your fine grinding paste to finish. G3 is sort of a bit like that, except it's finer than the fine paste, but it's still abrasive enough to bring back a paint finish or use as a final stage of a machine polish. Right, what I'm going to try now is another claying session. So let's add a bit of a spray and gentle clay. Going for a bit of a really quick and dirty finish here because I just want to see what it looks like and if it actually brings it back at all. And it's because I've been doing this, I don't actually know if it's made any difference at all, if it's made a positive difference or if it's actually made a very negative difference. But it does look better than it did in my view. On some of the wash and wax stuff and see how it comes out. Probably do with a machine polish, to be honest with you. But got rid of that horrible tarnishing around this area. There's still a little bit there because it could do with a bit more, but there was a huge amount up here and that seems to have gone now. It's just been replaced by this, it's hard to describe it, it's shiny but it's dulled slightly, which is probably because I've removed with that 1500 grade some of the protective top coating. In fact, I've definitely removed it. So that was of mixed fortune. But that does look better. Right, let's bring it around to the front and see what we can do about the hood. Just get that jump on like that. And just jump on once over. You can see that that's all quite tarnished as well, bless it. Let's see if we can do anything with G3. Does seem to remove a lot of the grime on there, which is one thing, so that is doing something. But I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get this perfect without a proper machine polish. And that will be something to do at a later point. For now, I just wanted to get it cleaned up. But yeah, you can actually see where it's sort of, there's almost like an oily substance on there, which might be part of that G3. It seems to be all over. But it does seem to have restored a sort of shine of sorts. And to quote Paul Ritter, not great, not terrible. Better than it was. Not perfect, but certainly better than it was. Right, let's put this back in. So this one I actually unlooped slightly on here, so that will need to go back in. So that is under there and there. There we go. This needs to come around to here. There we go, that slips back in there. It's particularly grimy. Let's see if we can do anything with that with some of the G3. That's not terrible. Again, just very tarnished. It's an old machine, and it's obviously led a life where it has been used, not abused, but used. And I mean, the thing is, who looks after a vacuum cleaner? Yeah, I know I do, but really, apart from changing filters, who goes to the trouble of polishing a vacuum cleaner? I mean, well, you can't really do it these days, there are a lot of them plastic, but if you had something like this, it would go to the trouble of trying to make it look presentable. At the end of the day, it's an appliance, albeit in this case, a very expensive yet oddly handsome appliance as well. But in fairness, that does seem to have done something. Let's try that wet and dry trick on this little bit up here. Yeah, that's definitely helping. I think I really need to get some even finer grade wet and dry just to finish that off, and then possibly whatever they covered this metal with in the first place to try and protect it. So I'm not sure if it was like a sort of a lacquer or a top coat or something, or just a very effective metal polish, or if it was just really well buffed. Maybe the latter. I mean, look at that. All of that dirt is just coming off of this machine. That's years worth of grime. That does seem to be doing something. The polishy stuff. And yeah, better than it was. Again, quoting Paul Ritter, not great, not terrible. I'm going to quote Con O'Neill from Chernobyl as well. his line was, well, it's not great, but it's hardly horrific. Incidentally, that's a program that's well worth watching if you're interested in nuclear power, like I am. It's pretty good. It gives you quite a good explanation of what went on. And let's clean one for a final bufferoo. Satisfying, oddly satisfying. Right, let's go and get the front. Let's go and get the nose and put the nose on. So its nose is returned from its soak, and you can see in there it looks a lot nicer, a lot cleaner. However, the nose is suffering from the same ailments as the main body. Bless it, it's quite tarnished. So let's see if a general 1500 over the lot will suffice and do anything. Let's have a look. It's particularly this bit right on the edge, which has got really, if I get it into shots, it's got really bizarrely tarnished. You can sort of see, well, it's actually going now, but sort of like this weird pitting going on. I don't want to go too much to town on it because yeah, you can see it here as well. So these little sort of markings. As I say, I don't want to go too much to town on it because I don't want to destroy the overall finish too much, but I've got to be honest, it's already a bit knackered. So it's not like I'm actually making it worse. If anything, looking at the body again, in retrospect, it looks a heck of a lot better. So we'll use a bit of the dodo juice to wipe it down. Probably want to do a little bit there, just to get into that bit there. That's definitely making a difference. Let's check the other side. Yep. Go for a general wipe down. Now I do actually have a machine buffer, so it would be interesting to see what happens if I get that onto it at some point. As I say, I won't be doing it today, because today is just about generally cleaning it up and seeing how it all hangs together inside and seeing if there's any parts that I need to replace. Belts, definitely. So that belt to the motor drive unit for the wheels on the bottom has definitely seen better days. Still works, I've tried it earlier, but it could do with being replaced. It's not perfect. Let's find a bit of this rag that's actually cloth that's got a bit of clear space. Put on some of the old G3 and go to town. Ooh, yuck. See, it's really drawing out that dirt, something chronic. And finish off with a little dousing with this. really going to town on that bit because it's no electrics in there, so nothing's going to pop. So you've got a little bit over there, but let's always wipe that off from the main body. And there we go. All coming up nice. Or nicer than it was. As I say, it is not perfect. It needs a lot more work, but for an initial once over, in my humble opinion, that has come up splendidly. Very happy with that. I do need to get a machine polish onto that, possibly using some of that G3 to really polish that off. Right, next thing, let's make sure this is all dried out inside here. The next thing I want to do is get the beta bar on. Now, if I remember when my friend from school took me through the demonstration, the beta bar uses something called quadra-sweep vibration. So it apparently it has a suction depth of up to 6 inches. It clamps the carpet between this seal on here, on the metal bit when it goes back on, and the actual beta bar itself. So you can actually see some really nice little bearings in there, which is quite cute. However, the beta bar is going to be one of those items that I'm going to look at replacing. They do tend to wear out. Also, this belt here could do with replacing as well. All of these things will just help the machine perform closer to what it did when it came out of the Kirby factory. So let's flip this upside. That's currently in engaged position, so we want to turn it to belt off, which will be that's belt off. Actually, I want it on belt on there, or midway through the cycle about there. So when I put this in, I'm not sure if these are handed or not. So these are handed, or do they go in anyway? Let's flip it around. Yeah, that's better. So that should clip in. Like so. So that's clipped into place. The belt, this is quite hard to show, but the belt should go, might be easier to show it from here. So the belt should go and hook over that. So if I now turn it to belt off, which is here, it's a bit wet, I need to dry that out. There. The belt is now in a position where I'm going to be able to pop it onto the front of the machine. So let's move all these rags out of the way. Right, let's flip up the lid, bring the machine forward, and forget to put the bottom on, which we will do now. Now, really doesn't feel like it's in. Is that? I guess it is. Beta bar is actually made of wood, which is quite nice. So good for lightness. I need to remember what way this goes in. So there you go. There's your little notches. So here tucks in at the front. There's a couple of little notches at the front. So you've got little notches here and on the other side there, and you've got little slits at the front here. Ooh, where are you? Come on, show me. There, that this goes into. So we go front and down. Make sure it's nicely clamped into place. There, and this side as well. There. And then we've got this. That should go over there. I think this side's a bit too far up, so the unit is reassembled. It's been cleaned out inside, and I've also taken out the drive mechanism and just re-greased it. So I still need to get a pair of new belts for it, but for the moment it seems to be working okay. So we're going to give it a quick run over this carpet, which is currently covered in dog hair, so this will be a good test for the machine. Put a new bag in there, so we've got a nice new bag. We've got this firmly on, so there's a switch in here and in front of the brush section, which connects into a switch module, and it's that switch module in conjunction with the power switch that determines whether or not the machine is going to turn on. So let's power her up. So it's quite loud, and what we do is we lower the front till the tone of the sound changes, the tone changes. Put the drive on, and there we go. You see it literally sucks the carpets off the floor, which, if you believe the sales hype of the Kirby demonstrator, gives you up to 6 inches of cleaning penetration. If they ever used that phrase during the demonstration, but it was one of the things that I was told. It will clean up to a 6-inch depth. And well, it seems to be making light work of the dog hair.